Let me
Okay,
make
awesome.
sure we're on the right mic here and everything. Check one,
Yeah.
two. All right.
There we go.
Cool.
Look at this
Hey,
guy. He's got like a whole professional setup.
Yeah, I podcast too, so
Oh,
I
okay.
just put
Awesome.
threw my podcast stuff together tonight.
All right.
hey, do you want me to do the introduction and all that?
Yeah, go for it.
You've got no motivation and you've got no self-esteem. There's a hole inside your head with no future to be seen. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Every day wake up with the same morning routine. You're content with any wall and the same old boring scene. Let's go.
Me and Sam today are sitting down and chatting with Mike Patton of the band Vista Blue, as well as past projects, the Robinsons and the Loblaws. Mike, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with us and chat for a little bit.
Thank you guys. It's an honor. Anytime somebody wants to talk about the dumb songs that are right, it's always an honor. So thank you so much. And the show's great. I've been watching the new show, so excited about the new direction that you're going and having Sam on board. It's awesome.
Well, thank you very much, my man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And for the watcher of the podcast, I've had Mike on the previous incarnation of the podcast when we chat about his previous record, Stay Gold, which is based on the 80s film The Outsiders. But today we're going to spend a lot more time chatting about his newest release with Vista Blue called Clear Eyes and Full Hearts, which is based on the 2004 movie Friday Night Lights, as well as the 2006 television show that ran for 5 seasons. And we're going to chat about some of the songs off there, as well as just talk about your projects and bands over the years and stuff.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Thanks so much for taking time out in your night. And let's get started, man. Let's chat a little bit. For anybody who doesn't know you, talk a little bit about your band Vista Blue and like how it started. I know how it started out. It started out as a baseball themed project with your brother, based on, and the name comes from your team playing baseball as kids, and you guys played on the team Vista Blue.
Yeah, so Clear Eyes Full Hearts comes out April 5th. Actually, I set it up a day early. Like I didn't know how it worked, and so I wanted to make sure it came. So April 4th it'll come out. But April 5th is the 10-year anniversary of the first Vista Blue release, which was a baseball release. And so we weren't supposed to be a baseball band, but I had written some songs for our friends the 𝗬𝗎𝗓s, who are a baseball band, who are awesome. They came to Nashville and recorded like in 2013, 2014, and I went out there and recorded with them, just did some vocals, and I wasn't doing anything. Wrote a bunch of songs. Was like, guys, I wrote you a bunch of baseball songs, and they didn't need them. They write a bunch of songs themselves, and so we had some stuff going. We did the theme song for my friend's record store, Sisters in Christ, and he was going to be putting that out as a split with Pears. Pears wanted to cover the song Sisters in Christ for the record shop. And so we're like, all right, we need to come up with a name and we might as well, do another record or something. And I said, I got all these baseball songs. And so he said, well, if we do baseball stuff, we need to be Vista Blue. Yeah, because that was the playground we played for was Vista. And they'd split up the teams. Like if you had too many kids, you'd have a red team, a blue team, a white team. If you had a bunch of, we were red, white, and blue. If you had a bunch of teams, somebody had to be green, which didn't make sense. So we'd make fun of them. But so yeah, so we did we did a full length on April 5th, 2015 called Good Eye. I had just had retina surgery and my brother had to finish the album. And so because I was out, I couldn't see, and so we called it Good Eye. And I still had some baseball songs, so we did a release for the All-Star break. Then we did a release for the World Series, and we were doing like interviews, and people were calling us a baseball band, which was fair because that was all we were doing. And then finally we started getting into like some horror songs and Christmas and all the other themes. So
Yeah,
but
then
yeah,
you would
that's
do
that's
like
kind of how it
this.
started. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're originally from New Orleans, and you currently reside in Nashville. Can you talk a little bit about coming up in the New Orleans scene and how you got started with your first band, the Robinsons?
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans was great. We lived in a suburb called Chalmette, and so people from New Orleans, there's a difference, I guess. And so we did a lot in Chalmette. We had a whole like all ages scene going where we try to book bands at like the local coffee shop or wherever we could play, VFW Hall, my garage, whatever. And then we started doing more and more like in New Orleans with the DIY punk scene, and just loved it. We love it. It's just a great scene, and we're talking like 2000 up until like Katrina 2005. Well, the Robinsons, the first iteration was done by like 2002, but we do like reunion shows. And I had another band called Sally Stitches, and we were doing a lot of the same stuff. And then Hurricane Katrina happened, and at a time where like the scene could have maybe should have died, by 7 months later, it was back, and we're doing DIY shows again. Only DIY spaces at that point could be gutted houses with generators. And we were doing, instead of just like four bands playing, we'd also have a documentary that we'd watch. We'd cook a big pot of, dirty rice or red beans and rice or something. And it just became even better than it ever was. And we decided to move to Nashville, so I only did it for about another year and a half. But just that whole scene, it taught me so much about what DIY scene should be. Obviously, we're not like punk, we're not like hardcore punk, but we played with all those bands, and we played with so many different kinds of bands, and just a lot of everybody accepting each other, and everybody getting along for the most part. And it was just a lot of fun. And like we'd go play out of town, and we'd see what the other scenes were like, and just always see how good we had it. And Nashville was totally different, so it was good to have experienced that as we were coming up.
Nice. Sam, do you have any questions for Mike?
Well, so I had some, but I don't really know how to segue into them,
Go ahead,
like,
man. There's no
so like,
structure.
well, no, because I know that you wanted to talk more about the new album that's coming up, and I did listen. Like, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare, just because I didn't even know who we were interviewing until like Thursday or Friday. So when you told me about the Outsiders album, that excited me because I'm not a sports guy. So like, baseball, like I love what you guys do. I love the whole theme, and like the sound, especially. The sound is amazing.
Thanks.
Like you guys list like the Beatles and Weezer and the Ramones as influences. There were a couple more. I can't remember what, but things that really stuck out to me in like the like your harmonies and your song structures and stuff that you didn't list, that I kind of wanted to see if like maybe I was right while I was listening.
Yeah.
So stuff like the Four Seasons, Frankie Valli, and like Dion and the Belmonts, and like all the like Phil Spector, like the Ronettes and stuff like that. Like, are those things that influence you too?
Oh yeah, I mean it starts with Beach Boys, right?
Yeah, I
And
was gonna say
so
Beach
so
Boys
when you
too,
go
sorry.
Beach Boys even to Ramones, like everything you listed is influencing them, right? And so if like Brian Wilson's going crazy about Spectre stuff, it's playing into what he's doing. Of course, this all goes to Ramones as well. Yeah, no, I mean it all starts with the Beach Boys for us. Pretty much everything we do is like um it helps that it helps that Ramones core, right, is where we often get slotted in. The Ramones can have this Beach Boys influence, and you don't have to sound like Pet Sounds, right? And so that helps, right? It helps. It's
Yeah.
like I can't really play the guitar, but I can almost kind of play like the Ramones, and so take this Beach Boys influence. Luckily, for whatever reason, catchy melodies, some good harmonies every now and then, and yeah. So it all starts with the Beach Boys, then. Yeah.
And then the follow-up question was, so like some of your songs have organ, which automatically reminds me of like Palisades Park and just like 60s pop stuff, you know what I mean? But
Right.
also, do you guys try to write like keyboard parts that are reminiscent of like old school like ball field organ kind of stuff, or is that like intentional, or is that just like what popped into my head because they're baseball songs?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of like synth, and we'll use some organ sometimes. So especially like last year we did the Help Me Ron, and so I kind of took the Help Me Ron to dee, 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 but I put it
Yeah.
on the baseball organ. Yeah. So sometimes we'll do it on purpose because of that. But I think a lot of the synth is just going to go back to like rentals, but then the
Yep.
cars are Gary Newman. I mean, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
really what it's going to be. Or even like with the organ stuff, like even like the zombies or something like that. We got all of that stuff too. So
Awesome. Yeah. Like I'm just glad that I wasn't just like pulling something out of my ass when I'm listening to it. So I'm like, this stuff's great. And just like reminds me of all that 90s stuff too. Just like there's like, you mentioned Weezer, but then like that whole thing, like you said the Reynolds, and then, like some of the stuff reminded me of Ash
yeah.
or like Fountains of Wayne or, stuff like that, So
Fountains of
there's
Wayne
just like,
is in there. It's Fountains of Wayne is a top five influence. Lyrically, lyrically, I feel like I learned from the Beatles, Dr. Frank, and Fountains of Wayne. And so I feel like so much of what I try to do lyrically, I'm writing about baseball or a horror movie or The Outsiders or whatever. But and that's just because I stopped writing pretty much, except like I do Christmas songs with some friends. After the Loblaws, I really wasn't writing much. It was because it was like this expectation that we are supposed to be writing songs about girls, and it just
right.
I just didn't want to. I couldn't do it. I didn't want to do it. It was absurd. And so I just started saying like, well, I can write about anything if I'm basing it on something else, right? And so I don't need to write about girls. I can just write about Pony Boy and Cherry, right? That's a
Yeah.
song about a girl, technically. That should fit these nerds' definition of what these songs are supposed to be, right? So yeah.
Yeah. It's
And you know
perfect.
what? And you know what? And I'm glad that you touched on a little bit about the Ramones core label, because I don't necessarily classify you as, or I don't see you as being a Ramones core band. I really see a lot of, I mean, Sam touched on it and you did too. There's a lot of power pop influence in your stuff. The harmonies and the keys and just the song structure. I mean, even when you have like a barn burner like Texas Forever, or Grady Hunsless, like
If you got a list, I don't just wanna be on it. If you got a list, I wanna be number one. If you got a list, I don't just wanna be on it. If you got a list, I wanna be number one.
your stuff is just so melodic, and like maybe it's the subject matter too. It's beyond the girls, it's beyond the all that typical tropes of Ramones core. But like the thing that I love the most is there's those power pop influences too, and like the harmonies and the way that you write. It's the subjects just aren't atypical of that style of music. Not just the baseball themes, but as far as like the album seasons, which I absolutely love. And then the stuff recently where you've been branching out, you're doing the horror stuff, you're doing the you did the split with Grim Deeds, and then you branched out and did Stay Gold, and then now Clear Eyes, Full Hearts. It's just, you're not really like, you pay attention to what you're doing. Like you I like to think like you're like a mad wizard when you're making music. Like you're like so smart with the way that you just pay attention to what you're doing, especially between like Stay Gold and like the new album. Like you really know what you're doing.
It's a double-edged sword, and it's something where like you're playing to a very small audience because not everyone feels this way, and not everybody's going to get it, right? And so, but what happens to us is, yeah, we're more power pop than anything, but the power pop people think we're too punk because they don't know what to do with it, because it's not jangly. It's not like a lot of what they consider power pop. We love Big Star, but we don't sound like Big Star, right? And so power
Right.
pop nerds, they only want something that sounds like Big Star, and that's not us. We love the Beach Boys, we love the Ramones, as much as we love power pop. That's kind of how it's going to come out. Is it's going to kind of sound like this Beach Boys through the Ramones through Weezer, right? That's what it's going to be for us. And so then the pop punk people, they do not think we're punk at all, and so we are left out of most pop punk conversations. Even having releases on Mutant Pop, there were many people who thought that was silly, that we didn't belong there. And even Tim, who runs Mutant Pop, who I think of as a friend, says he hates the current stuff that I'm doing, that it needs to be about girls, that pop punk is about girls. And
Who
you know,
cares
we go
about the
back and forth
subject
about
matter though, man? Like most of the time, who like I don't get people that like listen to the lyrics more than they do the music. Like it's just never been me. So
Yeah.
like to me, you guys like for one thing, you guys sound like summer. All right. You just, you just sound like a good summer soundtrack. And like it just, you know, musically it does remind me of like you know, like the Riverdales
Yeah.
and you know, the Mopes and stuff like, you know, like Lookout Records kind of stuff. So like for you to say people say you're not pop punk enough is just crazy to me. Because again, I'm not a baseball dude, so I'm not listening to the lyrics. Like I'm
Right.
trying to pick up what you're putting down, but like it's over my head. You know,
Even
I'm just
Clear
hearing
Eyes
the
Full Hearts
melodies.
though, you don't have to know Friday Night Lights. And to specify, you said the movie, it's really this album, Clear Eyes Full Hearts, is season one of the TV show. And
Oh, so
and
it
it
is
doesn't
based
even
on the TV show? Okay.
yeah, it doesn't even really matter because there's nothing specific. If you've never heard of Friday Night Lights, but you like this kind of music, it's gonna be fine. And like Sam's saying, like you don't have to like baseball. I think if you like this sound, if you like something that sounds like Weezer via Ramones via Beach Boys, like I think it works. Uh, if you like that kind of music, if you don't like that kind of music, it doesn't matter what the lyrics are about. It's not for you.
You touched on something that was really interesting. You said, you know, Tim from Mutant Pop, you know, doesn't like the new stuff. But you also put out Meet the Robinsons when you were what, like 18 years old? Like you can't
Wait,
keep rehashing the same ground over and over again. I mean, especially 25 years later.
yeah, no, I mean the Robinson stuff. Yeah, no, I mean I was probably early 20s already. No, my brother was in the band and he would have been in his teens, and so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean we can't. There's only so much I'm gonna do. And then like back in the 50s and 60s, the music Sam's talking about, right? I mean that's what they're singing about, and that makes sense. And that was pop music. But we've advanced, and again we've had people like I mean Dr. Frank. The thing is songs about girls, but they're not all songs about girls. But like listen to later Beatles stuff. Listen to Fountains of Wayne. Even a Fountains of Wayne song about a girl is not really about a girl, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
and again, that's where I learned like my lyrics or how to tell a story through lyrics were through people like that.
Very cool. Very cool. Sam, you got any more questions for Mike?
Yeah, so something that caught me off guard, right? Because I know this is a Friday night, so I've never watched Friday Night Lights.
It's
You
good.
know, I just know like the
It
term
is.
you know, has to do with like fucking, you know, isn't it like high school, like high school baseball because they play on Friday nights or whatever?
It's
It's
high school football,
high
right?
school football.
But
Okay,
so yeah, so look, if
so
somebody's made it this far into the show,
my wife's
I
over here yelling at me like, no, it's football. It's
I didn't
okay.
want to make this album because of football. It is I like good writing and it is a well-written show. In fact, I'd like the show a lot more about baseball, but it's America and nobody's gonna watch a show about high school baseball, right? So, but what the show's about and what the theme of the themes on the album is about is like being stuck in a small town where this is what they worship and this is all they know and this is their identity, and the idea that like it doesn't they can win the state championship, they can go to state and they can win state, right? And I like sports, and I'm sitting here saying this, right? You can win state, but then what? Then next year you're starting all over again. If your coach loses the first two games, they're gonna say he needs to be fired. And it's like this idea that like the kids who don't like sports, what are you going to do in a town like this, right? And so you've
Yeah.
got half the town that just worships, idolizes high school kids and coaches, right? And then the other half of the people, what if you don't like sports? Like there's nothing for you in this town because this is all the town shuts down on a Friday night, right? And so it's this idea of like some people love it, some people are stuck, and then what do they do? And it doesn't matter because nothing's ever going to change in a town like Dillon, Texas, right? And so,
Yeah.
and the Coach Taylor is just to me one of the great characters all time of TV, and not because he's a football coach. It's just Peter Berg created this great show based on the movie that he made, which is based on the book Friday Night Lights, which is a great book, based on a real team. And so the coach, Eric Taylor, is just a great character, and his wife. They're just two great characters. And so to me, this record sort of honors two good characters, and this idea of this town where you're stuck and nothing changes.
Yeah.
And I can relate a lot. Me and Sam, even though we both live in Ohio, we both grew up in Western Pennsylvania, in small towns, much like Dillon, Texas, small town football rolls. We've produced. Our area has produced some of the best quarterbacks that have ever played the game, some of the best football players that have ever played the game. And if you're not into football, there's like, well, what else do you do in the town? You know what I mean? You go skate downtown or go cruise or whatever. So
right,
you start a pop punk
I
band.
can kind of relate to Friday Night Lights.
and so that's the 𝗚cricifictorious song, right? So Landry has a band, 𝗚cricifictorious, and so there's the song about going to the 𝗚cricifictorious show, because that is something that you could do, is start your speed metal Christian band like Landry does, right?
10 o'clock, right up front on the stage, yeah. The broken spoken will be full tonight, and I really want to go to the 𝗚cricifictorious show. The music will be glorious, and I'll be there with you at the 𝗚cricifictorious show. And Dylan, they're
So real quick, Mike, I'm sorry. I had a question, and then I think I veered off, and then I led you guys to believe I had a different question. So my question was, I'm listening to the album today, right? And I get to the end, and it's the song Devil Town, which is like Daniel Johnston, and you guys are doing it very much in the almost same style as like when the 𝗺𝗂𝗄𝗎𝗎s covered it, right? But
yeah.
So I'm like, we're talking, like, while we're doing this interview, I'm like, what does Devil Town have to do with fucking Friday Night Lights? So I look it up. So, like, tell me about Tony Lucca and the song Devil Town being used over and over again in Friday Night Lights, and why you guys chose to do it at the end of the album.
Yeah, it mainly bookends season 1. You hear it early. I guess in the pilot you hear it. And for anyone who's never seen the show, just watch the pilot, and you'll know by the end of the pilot, because it's not like what you think of when you think of like a football show or movie where it's like everything goes great and they're going to win the state championship, and it's really good writing. And so, but watch the pilot, because the twist on the pilot is going to tell you everything you need to know about the writing and what Peter Berg put into the show, right? But so,
and the cast is unbelievable,
the cast
too.
is great, exactly.
Yeah.
And the music, which the music is mostly explosions in the sky, except so this Devil Town, you hear it in the pilot, and then at the end of season 1, the last episode, it comes back at a very emotional moment, right? And so it's really, I think there's 2 times in season 1. But so the story behind that, forget the 𝗺𝗂𝗎𝗎's version, it's great. But so what happened is Bright Eyes covered it. And Bright Eyes did this great version that Peter Berg loved. And for whatever reason, they couldn't get the Bright Eyes version. So he got this other like Texas musician, Tony Lucca, I forget his name.
Yeah.
He got him to basically cover the Bright Eyes version. And so what we're doing is kind of covering that. So it's sort of like a 4th generation cover. But the 𝗺𝗂𝗎𝗎's version is great. And anyone who doesn't know any difference just knows that we love the 𝗺𝗂𝗎𝗎's, probably just thinks we're kind of covering that, which is fine. I don't care either way, because I love 𝗃𝗃 and it's awesome. But no, if you know the show, you know this sort of version that is in the show is kind of what we're covering. And some of the chord changes that we use aren't in the 𝗃𝗃 version. It's just based on the Bright Eyes version. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you guys do the actual, like, the Bright Eyes version, and consequently, the where he's like, turns out I was a vampire as well, or something. Where like when you listen to the 𝗺𝗂𝗎𝗎's version, it's like, turns out I was a vampire too, and in a Devil Town. So like every time you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, wait, fuck, because I always forget that that's like a Daniel Johnston. So like I think of it as a 𝗺𝗂𝗎𝗎's song. You know what I mean?
Totally fair. Yeah. I mean, and they did a great version. And again, if you're only in the pop punk world, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's a great cover, and they made it their own. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Since we've been talking about the album, I just want to start with the lead off track, Can't Lose, which, the title of the album is pulled from that song. God, it's such a good song, and it's a great opener to the album. And it's also one of 2 tracks on the album that actually goes past 3 minutes.
Which doesn't happen often for us, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, most of the songs are like under 2 minutes long, and I'm just like, and even though I've listened to you guys before, I guess when choosing Can't Lose, I wasn't expecting the next 2 songs to one's barely a minute and one's under a minute. I was a little thrown off by that. But I really wanted to talk about Can't Lose, mainly because of the anthemic chorus of it. Talk about clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. It almost seems to be almost like a rallying cry, even though the next track is She Doesn't Want to Be Your Rally Girl. But the first track is almost like a rally cry, like something you would see, something you would hear in the end zone before a game, we can't lose. We can't lose. You're pumping up. You're getting ready. And it was a perfect opener for the album.
So it has to be for all of us. It can't be about football, right? I mean, that's the whole point here. It's again, to me, I think Coach Taylor is a great character, not because of football. And so Can't Lose had to be the first track. I mean, we talked about this on The Outsiders. The way I write is Paul Newman and A Ride Home the album had to open with Paul Newman and A Ride Home, or I'm not doing the album. So here, you're going to call the album Clear Eyes, Full Hearts. Your first track has to be Can't Lose. That's the next part of this saying. But again, it needs to be about, for all of us, it needs to be whatever it is that we don't want to give up. And so the lyrics are you think you can't win and you want to give it up, right? You think you're giving in because the days are too long. So I mean, for me, it's probably music, it's there are people who think that how long are we going to do this? And not just me, but the just hypothetical any of us, right? How long are you going to do this podcast? How long am I going to podcast, right? And so it's how long are we going to do these things? And it's yeah, but at some point, we don't have to give up, It's as long as we want to keep doing it, we shouldn't let what other people say, not to get all coach speak here, but right. And so that's what it's about. It's a lot of the album where people are going to think it's about football. To me, it's about music, or it's about whatever it is that our passions are, whatever it is we like to do. Again, it's not a football album. The cover, which here, my daughter did the cover for a design class at school, and she got an A, so I'm proud of it.
That's awesome.
The cover looks like a football album, right? And yeah, it's based on a football show technically. But if you listen, a lot of the themes are about however it applies to you. And so Can't Lose to me is about whatever it is that you want to do, keep doing it. Not because, in this case, in the show, not because of maybe a college scholarship or whatever, right? But because you like playing football for Dillon, Texas, and that was what you wanted to do when you were 7 years old, right? And so, and that's what Coach Taylor is kind of getting into them. It's not about any of this other stuff. He says the line, it's not because they gave you a piece of pie at the diner, right? It's because you want to be here playing football. I never did, but I always wanted to play music. And so that's kind of, I apply it to any of us and any passions that we have.
Speaking of, talking about what you said about it not just being a baseball, or not being just a football, album, it has more to do with the actual town and the characters and what life is like in a small town. And another track that really kind of brought that home was Nothing Changes. And that was another track I wanted to touch on. And I can relate. You were talking about you related to playing in bands and stuff. As somebody who, I spent 4 years playing basketball, I played a year playing football, and then when I was 15, I started playing in band. I played in my first band when I was 15, and spent the next decade playing in various bands too with Sam. But I can relate because the same things that I attributed to playing sports, I could attribute playing in bands too. And I thought that was really interesting when you said that.
You could be a sinner and just put your fate out of sight, but nothing ever changes. You could be a backup and become a hero overnight, but nothing ever changes. You can make it, you can fail, you'll never blaze a different trail. We'll do it all one time and then we'll set it up and do it all again. And no matter how loud they cheer, nothing ever changes.
It's funny because I told you I based on season 1. I did a season 1 rewatch. Season 2 is the season that everybody hates. It was the writer strike. It was NBC making them do a bunch of crazy stuff. And so season 2 is one I've only seen probably twice. And so after I did the album and had finished my season 1 rewatch, did the album, got it all done, I sat down to watch season 2 again. And Jason Street, the quarterback from season 1, he gives this whole speech about how nothing changes, and it sounds like I wrote the song after watching that episode, and it was from season 2, and I really didn't. And it's funny because there's just the writers sort of relaying this exact thing that I'm talking about. And the song on the album is actually I wrote it based on so what's the daughter's name? Julie. In the pilot, she does the analogy of Ahab and the whale, and she compares, Moby Dick to this state championship and the thing that they're chasing. And so I based on that, and then also there's the episode where like this alumni comes back, like this quarterback comes back, and he used to be a big deal, and they're all kind of treating him like sort of like a minor celebrity. But it turns out he sells insurance now, and then it turns out he doesn't even do that. He's basically nothing, and it doesn't matter because they have a new quarterback and they have a new coach and they have a new team and nobody even cares. And so it's like this idea of nothing changes, and also the part about this being an oil town. For me in Chalmette, Louisiana, would be fishing or shrimping or something. Any oil as well. We had the oil refineries, but for there would be drilling oil. And the town kind of moves along as the oil goes, right? And we all know the story. So in your town, it might be something else. And so
it's still we're still towns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's it. And so nothing changes. The rigs are moving. Sometimes they're not. The team's winning. Sometimes they're not. And it doesn't matter because again, even if they win state, you just got to do it again next year. It doesn't matter. Like there's no winning. It's just going to start all over. The whole cycle is going to start over, and in the end, nothing changes. And you can apply it to any town, any. It doesn't have to be football, right? Just anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got a question, Sam?
Well, I had a couple things. I was just taking some notes here, but hold on. Let me. There we go. Okay. So first of all, okay, I want to go back to the fucking Outsiders theme album because I just love it. Like, so because I'm not a sports guy.
Hey man, Cherry was a big hit for him too. Cherry was a big hit for Mike over
there. So like, so you guys have mostly like baseball or sports themed albums, but then like you said, you branch out, and like I did listen to the Halloween, not the Halloween album, but the EP that you did, the one with Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Okay, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. It's like They Came Back or something.
Yes, yeah. We do Halloween stuff every year. So this is the one that you're talking about is last year, 2024.
But like as like a follow up maybe to like the Outsiders album, Stay Gold. What if you did like? Have you seen the movie The Wanderers?
The Wanderers? No, I don't think so. What is that one?
I would definitely check it out. It's like it's another like greaser. Well, not even greaser. It's just like a gang, type movie. Like, are you
talking about the Warriors?
No. So there's the Warriors,
okay, right,
but like sort of like if actually if you were going to do a trilogy, like I would say like the Outsiders, the Wanderers, and then the Warriors. Like, so the Warriors is like the extreme end of that, and then like the PG-13 version is like the Outsiders. So like right in the middle, you have the Wanderers. Okay. And it's like, I think it takes place in the early 60s, and it's like these Italian, like Italian hoodlum type kids that like, but like it's in this weird alternate reality in New York City or something, sort of like the Warriors, but like it's in the 60s instead of the 70s. So it's like a little less like exploitation-y. Yeah. But there's like all these gangs, and there's like the Ducky Boys, which the band the Ducky Boys based themselves off. There's a gang called the Turnbull ACs, which was misheard as the Turbo ACs, which was another punk band. So like this movie was like hugely influential somehow. There's actually a Cleveland band called American Werewolves that are sort of like a horror punk kind of thing but they had an album called Wanderers Forever, which was like the rallying cry of the Wanderers in that movie. So like if you were gonna do like a follow-up to the Outsiders themed album, I would definitely recommend watching that, and I think you could turn that into something that would be really friggin' cool. That like all these other bands have tried to touch on it a little bit, but like I feel like they didn't do it thematically. I feel like if you watch that, you could turn it into like a really good concept album.
Right.
And all of the music is like Frankie Valli and like Dion and the Ronettes and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this. Yeah, I need to check it out. And just to follow up, because we talked about Stay Gold a lot, Jonathan and I. So nothing changes that we were just talking about. That was I wrote that for Stay Gold and just didn't use it.
Oh,
So that is actually so thematically it's right, because Johnny again, Jonathan says that it's based on the movie, but I should say it's based on the book.
It's based on the book, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
there's a lot that's in the book that's not, and it doesn't feel that way. It feels like if you watch the movie, it feels very close. But then I read that book like 3 times while I was writing that album, and there's a lot that's in the book that actually is in the movie. And so, Johnny has that whole part about nothing changes. There's still gonna be greasers, still gonna be socias. Like nothing changes was written for Stay Gold, and I just didn't use it. I write so much that like what I do is I just end up with like tons of stuff and just keep the stuff I really feel like is working at the time. So for Stay Gold, I probably had 18 or 20 songs and just used like 10. But that nothing changes stuck with me. And I had written a song a long time ago about Riggins from Friday Night Lights, and we actually used it for a baseball song about Anthony Rizzo. So Riggins, we turned into Rizzo. It's Rizzo. And so Friday Night Lights was always on my radar, something I was going to do. Just never actually put in the energy to do it. And I said, I want to do something special for our 10-year anniversary. And so that's when I decided I was going to do it. And so, but that nothing changes really fit to me thematically, whether it's Greasers and Socias, whether it's football, whatever, all of these stories sort of have that idea. So yeah, so it does fit. All of this sort of fit. And so when you say the follow up to Stay Gold, I kind of thought of Clear Eyes Full Hearts as kind of a follow up to Stay Gold, sort of high school story, but bigger themes and bigger things. But I like the idea that you're saying too. So I'll check it out.
what's the runtime on Stay Gold? Do you know offhand?
It was like 22 minutes.
22
Because I was gonna
minutes.
say
Yeah.
it'd be really fun to do like a Dark Side of the Moon like viewing of like listen to it with like the movie on mute.
No, you just get through like 2
You'd have to
scenes.
watch it like four,
Yeah.
yeah. You'd have to like listen to it like 4 times in a row.
I think that Clear Eyes Full Hearts goes a little longer, just because like
It's
you
like
said, there are 2 songs.
22, 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what? Oh, then maybe Stay Gold is not 22. Then it might be shorter. Yeah.
I know they're similar. I want to say Stay Gold was like 21, maybe almost 22.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. But honestly, between you and Grim Deeds and 𝗵𝗵, who does Lesser Creatures, you three were pretty, you don't know this, but I'm telling you, were pretty influential on me getting back and doing music myself. I put out 2 albums last year. I did one called 𝗵𝗵𝙗𝗵, and I did a hardcore project later on called NBS. But
Awesome.
I was messing around with like music programs and creating music myself. And you guys, knowing that you three do it, I like to write songs. I like to write lyrics. I constantly write. And to see you three put out the amount of music that you guys do, kind of influenced me a little bit to not a little bit, a great amount to start doing music on my own and not really rely on, other people, even though you might use other people on tracks or different incarnations of bands. But you guys really, helped me want to go playing music again, even if it was just for myself. So I wanted to thank you for that.
And that's what in 2025, like, I know you have a label, right? And I run things through Radiant Radish, our little label that we've had since like 1999 or whatever. But like, it's just more of a collective of friends is how I see it, more like a label. I don't think you need like a label in 2025. I don't think you need a reason. I don't think you need likes or downloads or whatever, right? I mean, it should just be about you and what you want. And yeah, I mean, seeing people like the ones you named, John Galvin, Kelsey Badgrammer, of course, classic Pat, big influence.
Yeah, of course,
He plays with
yeah.
Vista Blue now. But and I am lucky. First of all, I need to say Mark Crowley, our bass player, everything he's coaching. Speaking of coaches, I'm lucky enough to know a great coach, Mark, who's in the band, and he's coaching soccer this year, varsity soccer. And so I was just like, hey, I'm doing this album about Friday Night Lights right as you're coaching soccer. I'm going to keep sending you all these tracks. He's never seen the show. It's like he just gave me 3 days of his time to like knock out bass. And so
That's awesome.
it's awesome having him. And then, yeah, then all the guys who have always pitched in. Reese is our drummer. Mark and I did this album. My wife jumps in on the chants on the like pep rally song, Go Panthers.
Mhm.
But traditionally, we have Reese on drums. Our friend Richard will play lead guitar for us a lot. If you ever hear like any like ripping leads other than when Jeff Erg was on the Outsiders album, and my cousin Christopher was on the Outsiders album, a lot of times it's our friend Richard. And then my friend Rusty helps me write. John Galvin, I've stolen 2 or 3 songs for him. And like, hey, this is a Vista Blue song. Thanks for posting that on Facebook. I'm gonna steal it.
I know.
Like
I saw you and him go back and forth on Facebook with that.
yeah, like John will go on there and he'll go like, hey, here's a song I just wrote about Candyman, and he'll play for like 30 seconds and then turn off his camera, and then I'm like, guess what? That's a Vista Blue song now, John, and then I'll add to it, and Vista Blue itself, I feel like is a collective, and I can write all these stupid songs, and it can, I can sit here in this room and make all this music, but there's a lot of guys who also pitch in, and again, from my daughter doing the album cover, and my wife chanting Go Panthers with me, and just all these friends that do this, so yeah, we're really lucky.
Yeah, Sam. So John from 𝘃𝐿𝐶 Bad Grammar. He's also the one that did the cover art for the Prozacs reissue that we did.
Okay, awesome.
The demo album that we put out for
yeah.
Jay. Yeah, John did the cover for that. It's like an old school like MS-DOS like artwork.
yeah, just like dot or like an 8-bit kind of thing. Like,
yeah, he did the artwork for that. Yeah, it was really cool. So I've worked with John a few times between that, and he had a track. I think it was the digital comp we put out, and Mike was on Invading the Border comp with coming back around.
I don't know. Was this for your label or?
Yeah, for the label, the split we did with Faster Louder Records.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Was it She's Not the One for You? I don't remember what song it was. Yeah,
no, I think it was like Coming Back.
Coming back. They came back. She came. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. I have too many songs.
Yeah. So Mike, even Mike has been a huge part of the label too. You mentioned earlier about labels not being important. I totally agree. I just enjoy finding bands, wanting to work with bands, basically, helping them get exposure. Get some attention. I mean, I put out CDs. I'm not changing the world. You know what I mean? I just want these bands together.
It should be like I said, like a collective. It should be a collective of friends. It should be like and not for how we used to think of labels in the 90s, right? But just like, hey, we hang out online, so here this is our label. Like, to me, that makes sense. Or if somebody's gonna actually do something with it, if you want to really put together a good label and you're going to start to like put these bands together on shows and do a little more with it, I could see something like that. To me, I love Out Loud Records. That would be a label I'd work with again. Matt does great things.
Oh yeah, Matt's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, just because again, it's not about anything other than just like putting out good music and everybody's friends and everybody gets along. And if Matt puts something out, it's good. Right. Even if it's not like your specific subgenre, Matt's putting out good bands. And so, yeah. And there's never any like money or units moved or any of this label speak, it's like, it's just a cool.
And what's really cool is, what's really cool is I'm friends with so many people who run labels, whether it's Matt at Out Loud or Athena, Little Lost Girl, or Grim doing Laptop, punk records. Or the allegedly records. I'm friend, Tim from Mutant Pop. And I mean, being able to become friends with him. When he relaunched, it was a big deal. It was a big deal for anybody who was in the pop, late '90s, early 2000s pop punk. To see him relaunch, and I think what's really cool is the labels now. I think everybody just supports each other. Hey, you're putting a show together. Why don't you throw this band on there with your bands, or what I mean? And it's just. The pandemic really helped that a lot. That's the one great thing that came out of the pandemic was the fact that there was this resurgence of really good music and a lot of good bands coming out of the ashes of that, and people being hungry to see live music again and wanting to check out bands. And I did that a number of times since moving over to Youngstown, putting really good shows together with my label and other labels as well.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it. And yeah, like Athena, she did Stay Gold on 8-track. Yeah, so yeah, those people are all doing great things, and I think if you're doing it for the right reason, yeah. But I don't think it. I think people need to see labels for what they are, and all the things that you said. That's the right reasons to do it.
Yeah,
definitely,
exactly.
Yeah.
Sam, you got a question, bud?
Let me see. Let me refer back to my notes because
go back to your notes.
Covered that. So like
Sam's a fucking nerd.
I am. I'm a nerd and I'm a fucking like spaz and
I've known this dude almost 30 years, man.
I won't show you guys the notes for my Christmas podcast that we do.
So, well, yeah, here, hold on. John interrupted me though.
Sorry, my bad.
Fucking asshole. Oh, so earlier you were talking about like, the community aspect of DIY shows and all that kind of stuff, and like being inclusive and all that kind of stuff. So like being from Texas, like the what's going on right now with like our government and shit, and I don't want to get too political, but it's gonna happen because of the times we're living.
He lives in Tennessee, by the way.
Oh, I thought you were in Texas.
The album's based in Texas, but no, I'm in Tennessee.
Okay, all right. You're Nashville.
Yeah, okay. I actually don't know anything about Texas, but the show.
So never mind that, because I was going to say like, how does is there a damper put on that by the fucking anti-trans bill that's happening in Texas? So never mind. Never mind what I was going to ask.
Tennessee has a lot of its own issues, so I try to like just keep my head down and make dumb songs and podcast and
No, I mean that's awesome, but yeah, no, but like I really like the idea.
Cut that.
No, well, I might, or I might leave it in and be like, Sam's a fucking idiot.
I mean, I did make a whole album that was like Texas Forever, so in his defense.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know, Tennessee, Texas, they both begin with T.
Yeah.
They
Except
both, like,
one's really close to
something.
us and one's further away.
Well, I do think people are going to hear this record and go like, man, this guy really likes Texas. Like, there's a lot of people who won't get Clear Eyes, Full Hearts is a reference to a show, right? And I mean, if you just take it at face value, there's a song called Everybody Loves Football. People are going to think I love football and I love Texas. And,
Yeah. But the other thing that I want to say is like you were talking about how like, you can listen to it even if you're not into like football or whatever. And like, this is a show that the album is like a concept album based on that show. But like a guy that doesn't like sports, I will tell you, I love sports movies. And it's not because I care about the sports. Like, it's not even that I care about the, necessarily like the people that are the character. Like, I really like an underdog story, like I connect with the underdog thing, so like most sports movies are underdog stories.
Well, that's what I said. It can't be about football. It needs to be something for all of us. And that could be music. And so it's like, yeah, not even like an underdog necessarily. It doesn't have to be, but it could just be like, I really like this and I work really hard for it. And I do it just because I like it. And it doesn't matter if I win state or if I win some award. I'm just going to make music, or I'm going to play football, or I'm going to play soccer, or I'm going to play kickball with my friends. I don't know. Like something that you like doing just because you like doing.
Yeah. Or like we're all podcasters. Like we're not going to like win fucking awards for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speak for yourself, fuckers. I'm going for the gold.
He wants the trophy. He wants the podcast trophy.
I want the shiny things. Yeah. I want to piggyback off what Sam said. Question it'll be for all three of us. Favorite sports movie?
I mean, probably The Natural. I like Hoosiers, but yeah, I'd probably have to say The Natural.
Sam, you?
I mean, it's stupid, but like The Sandlot, I guess.
Yeah, no, Sandlot's a good movie, dude. That still holds up, dude.
But like if I'm going to talk like actual sports movie and like going into the whole underdog story thing, like I really like what's the fucking Denzel Washington? See, I don't even know. Like the Denzel Washington movie.
Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans.
Is it Remember the Titans?
I think.
Yeah.
Where he was like, his Coach Boone.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
that-
that's Remember the
Was
Titans.
it, or was that Stand By Me? No, I'm thinking of Stand By Me.
No, he wasn't in Stand By Me. Stand By Me came out in 86.
Stand By Me is the Stephen King movie about finding
Lean
the dead
on
body.
me. Lean on
Lean
me.
on me. That's Morgan
Lean
Freeman.
on me.
That's
There
Morgan
we go.
Freeman, dude.
No, I think
What the
he,
fuck?
I think
All right,
it's
that's
Remember the
getting
Titans.
cut because that's a fucking racist moment. Like that's
No.
that's a white dude moment right there. Sorry, that's getting cut.
No,
Oh, you know the black guy. Remember the black
the
guy was in
Denzel
that movie?
Washington movie was the Denzel Washington movie is Remember the Titans.
Yes.
Is it?
I think, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
it's
I'm pretty
Remember the Titans.
How am I confusing Remember the Titans with fucking
Lean on Me, he's like a-
and Stand By Me? Like
Because you had a racist.
Well,
Because I'm a
Stand By
fucking
Me
savior.
has the song "Lean on Me" in it. That's why, right?
Yeah.
Lean
That's
on Me.
why.
He's like a badass. Morgan Freeman's like a kick-ass principal. He's like, that's based on a true story,
Yeah, that's based on truth.
which I guess Remember the Titans might be too. It's been a long time since I saw it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So like I'm gonna cut it after I say Sandlot, basically.
No, keep that whole thing in. I want to see what people.
Hey, so 𝗀𝘁
I don't
Backer,
wanna.
John and I, we did a 4-song split about the Sandlot. So there's us. There's a few. So, yeah, there's a 4-song split that we did based on the Sandlot. So
I was
What's
going to
that
bring
called?
that up, but thank you for bringing it up.
What's that
I
called?
don't know. I forget. It's on the
Wait,
Radio Radish Bandcamp.
Wait, John, you put this out?
No. Him and John from 𝗀𝘁 Bad Grandpa.
Oh, Kelsey
did
Bad
a
John.
split.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I remember that came out almost 2 years ago.
Probably 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I
We
remember
did.
it.
You're Killing Me, Smalls, and
Yep.
it was good.
Yeah, that was the little lead off single you did was "You're Killing Me, Smalls." Yeah.
You're Killing Me, Smalls.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So before I let you go, there was one more track I wanted to touch on, and Sam stole the other one with being the cover of the Devil Town. But the one track that kind of stands out to me, just because I don't know, like it was really cool, and you did something that was really cool, and I really respect this track a lot. And it's "Go Panthers."
Go Panthers! Go Panthers! Hey, hey! Hey, hey! Hey, hey! Go Panthers! Hey, hey! Go Panthers! Hey, hey! Go Panthers! Hey, hey! Go Panthers! Hey, hey! Go Panthers!
And it starts out as like an instrumental and it builds up, and then you did like a marching band thing,
Yeah.
and that was, you already said that your wife did the chants on it with you, and it breaks out into like this like school band kind of a thing, and I thought that was really rad. How did that all come together?
I mean, that's our background. I mean, that's, my wife was a band director. We met in high school band. And so if you're going to do an album based on high school football, there has to be a pep rally song. I mean, that's part of high school football is the pep rally, especially for us. We weren't playing football. We were playing music at these games in high school. And we both were in the band in college together as well. And
That's
so, yeah. So, and it's funny. It's a song that we did that we don't know what it is, but like in Chalmette, Louisiana, they called it Elephant. And I don't know, it didn't hit a copyright strike through distribution. So, you know what I mean? Like we didn't get dinged. Like Devil Town, we had the license as a cover. And so this, when I pushed it through, I was like, well, if we get dinged for copyright, at least we'll finally know what this song is that everyone plays at football games in Chalmette. And it didn't get dinged, so I don't know if it exists, what it is, but it's just da 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 da. It just sounds like a pep rally to me, and it's a song we play. Then at the very end of that part, we go da 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 da. That's the ESPN song.
That's the ESPN thing. I knew that.
Yeah, that's what you do,
No, that's the I Dream of Jeannie theme. That's what it is.
Did they steal that part?
Da, 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 da. No, sorry.
No, it's da 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 da.
And I
Shut
did,
up,
yeah, my
Sam.
dog hated that I brought my trumpet out and did some horns on there. My dog hated it that day. There's a lot of hand claps on this album. My dog hated the hand claps.
Yeah, I
And then
noticed
he
that.
really hated the day that I got the horns out and did the horns. Yeah, but it was fun. It brought me back to my pep rally roots, and that's how I would participate in high school football, was just playing my trumpet. Yeah.
Sam, any more questions for Mike before we wrap this up tonight?
I like that you keep throwing me bones, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'll throw you a bone.
Have you ever thought about doing a cover of Sports by Viagra Boys?
I don't know that one either.
I just check that out. That's
There's
like
that Grim Deed song that's like, I don't like sports. I should do that one.
well,
There you
this
go.
song's very like pro sports, but it sounds very tongue in cheek. I can't remember where Viagra Boys are from. I think Sweden or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
So
from out there.
like the song sounds like they're just making fun of Americans. It's just like sports, volleyball, cigarettes, blah, 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 like just yelling things out. Like check it out. Sports by Viagra Boys.
All right.
Definitely
And to be
recommend it.
fair, like the song on this out, like Everybody Loves Football is a song on this album, and it's clear that I hope it's clear that to me, not everybody loves football, right? Like I do,
No.
I like it. I've like kind of got myself out of it. I don't like it as much as I used to, honestly. But the idea that I'm sitting there saying everybody loves
Probably
football,
because you're in Tennessee.
maybe, yeah. But like, really, there's the line like even God up in heaven, right? And that comes from the show where the kid asks Street, he says, "Do you think God loves football?" And he says, "Everybody loves football." And so, but I mean, to me, it's like there's sarcasm there. Like everybody loves football, even God up in heaven loves football. So I mean, but people who take this album at face value are gonna probably think like, this guy thinks everybody loves football. Like, yeah. But I'm trying to. There's definitely it's 50-50. There's some sarcasm in there too. So.
Yeah. It's a really good album, and I'm glad you reached out to me a couple weeks ago about it, and I was pumped to do this interview conversation with you because I've been a big fan of yours for a number of years, since I've discovered you guys, and I'm really excited for this album. I hope it really gets the attention it deserves. Like I said, from Can't Lose to Devil Town, it's 12 tracks of really well crafted power pop punk songs. And one thing I wanted to touch base to, the back cover, which each track, and Sam, I don't know if you noticed it, but each track has the game that it's associated with.
Well, kind
And
of.
the
It's not.
score.
It doesn't line up perfectly. It's the schedule. It's the schedule from season
schedule,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't actually look at the artwork
So
yet.
some
I didn't get a
will,
chance.
some do line up. I think Mud Bowl, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, some kind of line up.
But just the fact that you put the games on there, like I didn't care how accurate it was. It was just the time it took to do that was really fucking cool. And as somebody who's into sports, especially football, I thought that was kind of cool. Because my youngest played his first year of football this year.
Oh, cool.
And I just remember going to the games, and even though he's in junior high, the fact that I'm getting to experience that with him, watching him play, paying attention to the scores. Like I still remember what the score was for the third game of the season, and
Awesome, yeah.
how well he played, and how close his team is. They're 7th and 8th graders, but I could really watch the team come together and it's to watch my son kind of came out of his shell.
Yeah.
And to watch him kind of come out of his shell and people know who he is, and how close his team is, and then turn around and see you put an album like this out, based on something very similar. It resonated with me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, don't tell him there's any like irony in it. Just be like,
oh
this
no, I
album's
won't.
all about
This is how
football.
it
You should
is.
check.
This is football. Everybody loves football.
Everybody loves it. Listen, 12 tracks about football. Yeah. And that's fine. That's the whole point, is like the track Alamo Freeze sort of like comes back around and admits that like maybe sometimes it's okay. Like maybe sometimes like we don't have to say Texas forever. We don't, but like if we leave Texas or you leave whatever town you're in, right? Like maybe it's okay to have some good memories. Like the Alamo Freeze, like maybe we'll look back and like, man, I kind of missed the Alamo Freeze. You know, like when
Yeah.
when there was nothing else to do on a Friday night because there was no game. The Alamo Freeze was kind of cool. I'd like to go back there. So yeah, so it does, but it can be about football. If that's what's important to someone, it can totally be about football. Because to Coach Taylor, that was life. You know, that was his music. That was his punk rock. Was just football, and that's fine. You know, if you're going to give it 100%, that's fine. And I do want to say one more thing. If people are listening to this because they do like Vista Blue, the song State, we are really proud of. So to us, it's like just me. If I had to pick like my favorite songs that I've written, you know, the 𝗏𝗏𝗏's Tossing and Turning. I really like the song we did, Big Stars, when we went to Memphis and did that album. But State, like we're really proud of State. Like we put a lot into that one. And if anyone listens to us because of like our synths or because of like, you know, whatever, the harmonies and the back and forth callings, right? It's like, I feel like State sort of is the accumulation of everything on this album, but also sort of the Vista Blue sound. So I did just want to point that out as well.
Sam, close this episode with State. I agree with him. Close this episode.
State was one of the favorite ones that I listened to. I also want to say, so going into this thinking it was a baseball album, right? Because I'm fucking dumb, you know. I'm dumb about sports.
I mean, you can see the yard lines.
I didn't look at the album.
That doesn't mean anything to Sam.
Like I had one day.
No, I get it. That's cool.
But so like going into it thinking that it was, you know, baseball, the song "Everybody Loves Football" I thought was a lot more tongue in cheek than it actually is.
That's pretty funny.
I thought it was like baseball fans bitching that everyone loves football.
No, you ever see the movie The Rookie with Dennis Quaid, where he's like the coach and he gets to play in the major leagues? It's based on the real story of Jim Morris. Or basically any movie in Texas is about football. But the kids in that movie, right? They're like, their field sucks. They don't have grass, and they're like, look, the football field, it's you know, May or whatever, and they got green grass over there. We don't even have grass on our. So that would in Texas, that would be something that like a baseball team would sing. Is like, everybody loves football, nobody cares about us. Yeah, it would make sense.
I also didn't know if, like, you know, the song "Go Panthers." Again, I never watched Friday Night Lights. I forgot John said this was about Friday Night Lights, so I'm just like, oh, Panthers must be like, you know, one of their local fucking like college teams or some shit. I'm just like, I'm getting into it. I'm like, yeah, cool, Panthers, go Panthers. I don't know. I just think it's a cool album. Even if you're not like, you know, the fact that I know nothing about anything that you're fucking talking about and I still liked it, like I enjoyed it. I think everyone should check it out. I just think you guys are a good band. I'm going to continue to check out like the back catalog and stuff. So thank you very much for doing what you do and talking to us.
Thank you guys for having us. John, with John, I just knew we talked about Stay Gold, and this was the first full length since that. So, and like I said, to me, it's sort of like a follow up. So that's why I reached out to you and was like, hey, you know, this might be something you want to check out because I know you like Stay Gold, and it kind of felt the same to me.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Thank you so much for coming on. And before you get off, why don't you let the listener, viewer know where they can purchase your stuff and how they can contact you?
Yeah, everything is on the Bandcamp. So it's just wearevistablu.bandcamp.com. We have a store Envy, it's the Radiant Radish store Envy, or, you know, you can come to the Radiant Radish Bandcamp to find some other stuff, other side projects and stuff. I do a side project with Pat, Classic Pat. You know, we have Mike and Pat. We're trying to start our Judy Blume band, the Green Kangaroos, maybe a kids band. So there's just so many side projects that I do. So you can come to the Radiant Radish Bandcamp for that. Reach out to me at radiantradish@yahoo.com. And yeah, just we're all on Spotify. Everything's on Spotify, all the streaming. And we have playlists set up. So like there's a baseball playlist with like 52 songs. There's a Halloween playlist, a summer playlist, Christmas, you know, there's playlists with all the themes if you're only into like certain kinds of Vista Blue songs. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, Mike, thank you so much for taking time out of your night to bullshit with us for a little while. Good luck with the next album. Good luck with all the new projects you have. as you said, with Pat and the other side projects as well. You enjoy the rest of your day. It was great getting to hang out for a little bit.
You too. Thank you. And thanks to Sam, who had never heard of Vista Blue and had to sit through this. And yeah,
Yeah,
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate that. I know John likes it, but you just had to sit through it. So
No, I enjoy it. Like,
I-
thank you also for making this a very like this is gonna be very easy to edit. Everything's very linear.
good. Oh, also, yeah, come check out Snow in Southtown if you like nerds talking about Christmas or other holidays. My podcast is Snow in Southtown. So yeah.
Are you gonna do a Christmas story themed album?
Oh, we already did. It's a different
Yeah,
band. Ralphie's Red Riders. Check it out.
Okay, yeah, I will.
It's we've got over 20 songs. It's a different band.
Yeah, is
That's
that
like
under
Vista
Vista Blue,
Radiant?
but it's just a
Is that-
different name.
Is that under the Radiant Radish?
No, there's separate accounts. It's all on Spotify. It's just Ralphie's Red
okay.
Riders, but it's us. Yeah. So it's Vista Blue, but it's all, and we're inspired by our friends, the Home Alones. You guys should check out the Home Alones. They write all Home Alone songs. And so we started Ralphie's Red Riders. So
Nice.
but it's still
Very
just
cool.
us. Yeah.
Home Alone, as we know, is not Cleveland connected, and the Christmas story is. So we gotta
Right,
talk
exactly,
about-
yeah.
we gotta
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about Christmas story.
No, definitely the Cleveland. Yeah, you should check it out. We redid a commercial for 𝗵𝗂𝗃𝗍's from like the 50s or whatever. We recreated it, and Reese, our drummer, does the voiceover. My wife and I did the music. So on the You'll Shoot Your Eye Out album, which is on Out Loud Records, we recreated a 𝗵𝗂𝗃𝗍's ad from like the 50s.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
All
That's
right.
awesome. Well, you guys have a wonderful night, and Mike, I'll reach out to you soon again. Bullshit, and Sam, I'll I'll reach out to you later on, man.
All right, thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Thanks so much, guys. It was awesome.
Awesome, man. Have a great night, man. Thanks again.
You too.
All right,
Bye.
night. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
and-
So, sorry.
Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a cut, and then because we've got I set a timer. Mike, we're learning how to do this shit.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
So we got 3 minutes on my timer. I set it for like half an hour because we have to cut it at like around half an hour to 40 minutes, and then because we have a third person in the meeting, it's gonna make us wait like 9 minutes between starting the next meeting. So what I wanted to see is, do you guys want me to play the song you were just talking about, Vista
Oh,
Blue?
can't lose. Oh.
Yeah. Can't lose. Sorry, I'm reading the fucking band name because I'm an idiot. So, do you want me to just play the song like we're playing a clip, and then we'll like take our 10-minute break or whatever and come back?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah,
Whatever
I'm
works for
fine.
you.
I'm good.
John, do you remember your question you had to follow up from that, and then we'll pick that up at the beginning of the next meeting?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. Cool. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit my share. I'm gonna share the audio. I already got that hooked up, and then I'm gonna play it. And this is a lot more streamlined than the last interview we did, John. There we go. All right. And go.
And you're gonna cut this and play the actual track, right?
Well, I am now. I mean, I am now because you talked.
Whoops. What a way to fuck up, John.
That's all right. So yeah,
That would be the best
so
way
we
to
don't
do
have
it,
to.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine.
We'll just cut it and you can just play the audio and have to cover up and stuff.
So like the reason I was doing this is because like sometimes we're gonna have videos of people like live performances and stuff, but like really it's to save me time on editing, because if I can just like have it play and we're not like jibber jabbing over it or whatever, then I can just like leave it in and then cut out the part where I'm gonna play the song now, and that all that kind of shit. But we're learning, like
Yeah. But
John,
I think
whatever,
it'll sound
it's not a
better
big
if you
deal.
actually edit it in instead of over the Zoom,
totally-
right?
It totally will. It
Or I
totally
guess,
will.
I guess on your end it wouldn't matter because it's not on your end. It wasn't going to.
No, it's actually coming from my sound card, so
Right,
it's going to be legit. Like
Yeah. So yeah, it would.
whatever quality I have, which I'm guessing these are like master tracks.
Yeah. You got it. Yeah.
Oh, they're MP3s though. So
John
it doesn't
jibber
really
jabbered.
matter.
It's
It's
really
fine.
that John
It's
jibber
not a big
jabber.
deal.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
It's all,
All
my
right.
phone. It's all my
He
phone.
gibbered and then he jabbered. And
I gibbered and I jabbered. That's right.
This is all getting cut out anyway. It doesn't matter.
No, keep it.
I'm
Fuck
gonna,
it. They need to
yeah.
be. They need to see how the sausage is made.
This is how the sausage is made. And then here we'll go, and then we'll laugh, and then I'll cut to the actual track and put the album cover up.
There you go.
All right, guys, I'm going to end the meeting. It's going to tell us we have to wait 9 minutes. Let's just call it 10.
Okay, and then
Everybody
just send
cool with
us
that?
new.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
cool.
All right. So yeah, just I got the email open. I'll just like put the new link in. All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So
See you
we're
guys
just-
in
we're-
10 minutes.
So we're going to
All
like
right.
9:40.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
All right. Bye.
Peace.